RetroforceGO! And welcome back.
Bees.
That was
Bees. Bee
Hope is
fab.
still angry.
Pep, 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 pep.
Wow,
And I
Colette
told you
Dustman.
guys how Dyson reacts as the act of penetration begins. What he says.
And welcome. Oh man.
There he goes.
Silliness is the best. You set him off.
I set him up, you knock him down.
There he goes, there he goes, there he goes.
Oh my god!
I think you've
never
broken.
heard this? You never heard this happen before?
I have, but not to that degree. He sounds like somebody just poked a helium balloon and is slowly letting out air.
Colette, are you ready for this? You need to hold on to something. You ready? I'm gonna do my favorite impression from Willow. You ready?
Here we go.
No, I'm
Gosh.
Willow, change me back.
Best impression ever.
That's my favorite scene in that movie is when he keeps changing that woman to like the 70,000 different animals, and every time she talks to him, it's like a different wacky, like Mary Poppins voice.
Man.
I was like, what the hell is this movie? I'm like, just because she turned into a goat doesn't mean she has to talk like, Willow, change me back.
I walked out to the kitchen one night to get a drink, and my roommate stopped me and he says, Topher, do you have Mario Kart?
I love your roommate. I haven't even met him yet.
Papa!
I'm like, yeah, dude, what do you know, GameCube, SNES, N64, DS, GBA, like, yeah, which one? And he's like, do you have Mario Kart 64? Like, yeah, dude, you want to play? He's like, yeah, I really want to play Mario Kart.
Really?
All right. So I took the
Okay.
N64 out to the living room and hooked it up, and
That sounds really fun.
we've been rocking that shit every night for the past like week and a half.
The game I play the most, and I still play if I ever have an opportunity, is Pitfall. I love Pitfall. Pitfall is the
Yeah,
greatest
dude,
game
Pitfall
ever.
is great.
And of course, the main reason I love Pitfall is because of the most classic sound effect ever, and which I'm going to try to do for you right now.
It kind of terrifies me
It's a really touching
little bit.
thing, though.
Yeah, it is
What
a little
if-
terrifying, I guess.
What if
because he's
soldiers the
protecting
world
our-
over are supposed to be paying attention to like incoming bombers or something like that, and all they hear is "amazing," and they're like, "Oh, that could be Elmo," and then minutes later, Alaska is invaded,
Hopefully.
and Palin's like, "Told you so."
Well, technically, all women are born for punching because once they reach 60, then they're like a giant target forms in their face.
Oh my god.
Oh my-
Highly quotable right there.
Whoa.
Technically, all women are born for punching. You need to get that on a shirt, Chad.
I'm sorry, Mom.
Hate mail, here we come.
I know that was awful.
Ugh.
No,
the ladies. That's what he does.
that's what he does. Rubs one out and punches the ladies.
Oh, Mom, I'm so sorry.
Oh my god.
Funny, and it's been a long time since I got to say Dongole!
Yay!
A lot of the
Well,
fans.
you know, otherwise I wouldn't be caught dead with you guys. I'm on a real podcast, but you know, you know, it's great. Like the fact that when I move into like bad mouthing mode and like bad mouthing kidding mode, I immediately launch into the Ron Workman impression. It's like, I got bad
Yeah.
It's kind of irresistible. Bruno Decker asks Colette if she is single and says, "Could we meet at PAX, then go somewhere else to have some fun, just the two of us?"
Oh my god!
Are you serious?
That's what he said.
That's. I like your style, son.
That
Wow.
guy is so upfront. I love it.
Well,
Some Team Awesome shit right there.
I'm just kind of floored.
I have a feeling that we're mostly going to be talking about Nintendo Power and probably maybe EGM and a little bit of GamePro because.
Oh my god, you guys suck. All you know about Nintendos. You don't talk about no Segas and those Amigas.
Well, I'm saying that because
Your podcast sucks.
Speaking of retro amazing news, retro amazing news.
That's
Clay. This is from SEIFD.
Awesome.
that's a tough one to pronounce, though.
That can't be pronounced in English.
And first of all, they call it flying disc and not frisbee because I'm assuming they didn't get the rights to frisbee, which makes me laugh. But the other one I don't think they got the rights to was instead of calling it hacky sack, which is what I've always known it as, they call it foot bag. And I don't know why that made me laugh. For
Foot
some reason, that
bags
word
is like a
just-
medical condition.
Yeah, that word just grosses me out.
Sounds like you're gonna insult somebody. You fucking footbag.
To me, it sounds like the next WiiWare game.
Oops.
Yeah, I had to think about that. I'm like, parsley boobs. What would that be like?
That would be like the thing that sends you to the clinic is you sit next to the guy who has foot bag.
Congratulations! 100 episodes!
Oh man, the rainbow stripe.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't remember that until he asked that question, and I started like laughing because I remember that metal rainbow stripe was
Oh,
awful.
that was
No, it
awful.
wasn't. It was kind of awesome at the same time, though.
No, it was awesome. It was like it was awesome because it was so
Awfully
awesome.
awesome.
It's like the definition, like that rainbow design is like the definition of what the '80s is. You know
Totally,
what I mean?
dude. It matched my like OP T-shirts that had the rainbow stripe all the way around their shirt.
You just said OP. That's amazing.
And Mork suspenders.
Oh my god! If I probably had more OP shirts than any human being on the planet. That and wait, what was the other brand I had? I had what was it? No fear? Was that what it was?
Yeah,
No.
dude, that was way
Yeah.
later though. That was like
That
the
was way
90s.
later. That was way later.
Yeah,
Wait,
way
there was another
later.
like Bugle Boy. Did you have Bugle Boy?
Oh god, why did you remind me of that? Oh man. Yeah, the sound is great because it's got all this like it all comes down to. It's really noisy like an old arcade game, and it feels like
That was the
old
greatest
arcade
impression
game.
of an old school arcade fighter.
Round 3.
That's awesome.
just beautiful arcade noise.
Here's an important question. It's from Aaron Lindy. And says,
Oh,
I
yeah.
have a question. Topher, why do we not cuddle anymore?
Yeah, how about that?
Look, man, you know what? I've been busy, and
Just
you
say
know,
it. Just say it's submit. It's okay. I understand.
You don't call. You never call.
3D space, but you're really pretty much going from point A to point B.
All right, listen. I'm gonna make some goddamn pancakes right now. And
Yeah,
we
calling
need to.
pancakes. Pancakes.
All right?
So, made
That
that
could just
game,
be the
actually.
lineup of Chad Conselmo's Punch Out. You play as Chad Conselmo against Ethel, Edna,
Ah!
Doris, Gertie.
Chad controlled the
Gertie.
girls.
Oh my god. And then the other game, Family Slot Car Racing.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
The Akari Warriors games worked out okay, and Ghosts and Goblins, it's kind of hard to screw that up because really all you do is you load it up and you die.
They just included the first 2 levels. They just
You
assumed no
have
one
to
else
be
would get
quoted
past
on
it.
that somewhere.
Wait, when did you call this woman a cunt?
Yeah, okay.
I keep going. Yeah, I have to hear this.
So I'm training this guy whose name is now no longer weird, who is named Topher, and he was kind of slow, and I mean, as anybody was when they're starting a new job. And this woman comes up with her like 900 kids. She's kind of fat, and she's got kids of varying ages. So I assume she's Mormon, which is there's a lot more of them in Arizona than you'd probably assume. So she comes up and asks him to take her Blockbuster card, but then she gives him this like these really weird instructions like, okay, this is not my Blockbuster card, so don't use this, but this is my name, and use this Blockbuster card, but don't use it. And he's getting like understandably confused. So he's just like, I don't know, I don't understand. And he does for a couple seconds, and then she goes, and then she looks at me and she goes, no, you know what? Why, can you just do this? Because this guy obviously doesn't know what the heck he's doing. I don't want to be here all night. And I was just, I've been working there for too long. I've been working there for 6 months or something like that, and I was past the point where I cared about customer service. So I just said, all right, and I took her stuff and I did her shit, and without saying anything because I didn't want to say something really rude, I took her movies and then just put them on the little counter that's right next to the door. I didn't put them down very hard or anything like that. And she just looks at me and she goes, "Where's your manager?" I go, "Well, right now I'm the manager." I go, "Why?" And she says, "Because you were being incredibly rude to me. You just don't say anything to me, and you slam my movies down on that counter. You just slam them down. Is that good customer service?" I'm like, "Well, I don't know. I didn't slam anything." And she goes, "You're being incredibly rude to me." I go, "Well, you're being really rude to my friend here." And she goes, "It's got nothing to do with being friends. It's got everything to do with customer service." I'm like, "Well, I don't really care that much about customer service." And she starts getting angry, and she says, she says something. She says a bunch of stuff, and then as she's walking out the door, she says, "Well, I guess that explains why you get minimum wage. At least I don't get paid $3.15 an hour." And then as she's halfway out the door, I just say, "Well, at least I'm not a cunt." And then she stops and moves back into the door, closes the door, looks at me and goes, "What did you just say?" And I go, "I just called you a cunt." And this big Bosnian guy who frequents the store walks by her, and she stops, and her mouth is just open. And she grabs the Bosnian guy with the scruff of his shirt and goes, "Did you hear what he just said to me?" And he goes, "No," and then just walks out. And then she comes back to the register, literally throws her movies down on the counter, and then makes me give her a refund and stuff like that. And she's just shouting at me and saying that I smoke pot and tries to call him. I offer to call the manager for him. Like, I don't care. I was going to quit anyway. It's no big deal. Fine, I'll call the manager for you. And she keeps getting really angry, and then she leaves, and then her kids keep calling the store threatening to like steal a bunch of movies or pinch my tires or something like that. And then she finally calls, and she goes, "Is Anthony there?" I go, "Yeah, that's me." And she goes, it's blah blah blah. I can't even remember her name. I'm like, "How you doing?" Just trying to piss her off.
Yeah.
And she goes, "I just want you to know that I contacted the Glendale Police Department. I have filed a complaint, and that is going to go in your permanent record, and that's going to stick with you forever." And I was like, "Hey, but you're still a cunt." And she goes, "But you made me this way." And then I fucking hang up on her like mid-sentence as she's still shouting. And that's how I got
This is
fired.
the best story I've ever heard in my entire life.
But you made me this way?
Yeah. I said, well, at least you're still a cunt. And then she's go, "Yeah, well, you're making me this way." And then
Oh my god.
You are literally like my hero right now because I worked in customer
Anthony.
service before, and that's like
love it.
been my dream like my whole life is to do
That's how
something
it
like
goes.
that. Ugh. Anthony, that is the best story ever. Even hearing it twice, I'm telling you, it is like, wow.
The best is the part of the, like with the Bulgarian guy or whatever. He's like, "No."
No. I am from Bosnia. You are a cunt. I will not talk to you.
Okay, it's 1 o'clock. Can I go to bed now?
Yes.